So, where do you think we would be as a nation if we weren't conned in a way? Now, whether it's accidental or deliberate, I'll leave that up to you to decide. But, you know, the more I look into this, the more it just seems more obvious, painfully obvious, to be honest. I'm going to look at this in two lights, not saying that whether it is or isn't, but, I've got to move my mindset into it to look at it as it is, as opposed to, everyone looks at behavior, yeah? But it's always behavior that looks people beneath you rather than people above you. When people are looking at behavior and psychology, the psychologist believes that they are a cut above everybody else, and that they look down on people, but they never look up. And then there's behavior of infrastructure. There's behavior of politicians. There's behavior of kings. The behavior of kings in the past you could look at, that they've got in their positions of where they're at now by killing, murdering other people who were running the country, who may have, if their family was still here, have done a better job. No one would really know terribly much. So you would have to look at this and behavior of councils. What are they truly there for? Especially when they're overly obvious that they bend over backwards for all corporations, especially council houses. And then why would they do this after selling them? Selling all of the council houses. If we were to keep all of the infrastructure, you got to understand something with people on benefits, right? No one cares about people on benefits, politicians overly. They're paying it for a different reason, it would seem to me, because of the heartlessness. And at the end of the day, back then, they would have really needed people on benefits in order to move money from the taxpayer. You'd lose paper trails and stuff like that. So if we'd have kept all of the things that were built by a taxpayer, yes?
Yeah.
And especially when we talk about projecting, yes, people project a lot of, so everyone on benefits is a fraudster. Which what they're really saying when they're doing that is projecting that we are frauding you. We are frauding the tax pot. You can't have a black hole budget. It's impossible. And anytime you borrow anything from the government or anything else like that, and the reason why I say this is because, one, we're looking for a better government. One that's actually there for the people. Truly there for the people.
Yeah.
So it's not bad-mouthing it. And anyone that takes offense to this in politics or the council, then you just expose who you truly are. Your reaction will say it all. But again, let's see if we're going to hit some nerves, shall we? Anytime you borrow anything off the council, or money or anything else like that, or they give you something, have you noticed how there's always a term and condition?
Yeah.
But yet all of the infrastructures they claim they have no power over, no authority, they can't tug them into line, they can't make them do repairs. They have literally no power. Even the Housing Act, the council laugh at, and housing associations also laugh at, but yet expect you to bend over backwards to meet their demands. After all, communism was written by British people. Let's just state that right off. People came to Britain, and another person was British, and they come here, and they look at this system, and then create communism from it. And then wonder why everything is hated. It's a bit weird. It's sort of like hating the very thing that people came here and were quite disgusted with. And I'm not saying that it's overly great, but in comparison, and much as we're arguing, is communism better? Or is this imperialistic? Actually, no. Dictate? No, it's wrong. It's not even imperialism. It is just authoritarianism is what it is here. And I don't think governments have all that much power. I think they've got literally none. Especially when you can write a law and it not be abide. And I think that when they were calling people cash cows, that's exactly what people are. So I'm going to look at this, and I've got to go a bit broad and a bit backwards, and it doesn't make much sense. But as I go into the video, it will begin to make sense. So if we take all the things that were built by tax, so we could say news, yes?
Yeah.
TV license, yes? C, houses. What else? What else was built by taxpayers? Schooling. And there's something else as well with politicians, which politicians to me are elites. Council members are elites, with a few thrown in there for good measure. But you would never know if you were an everyday person. You would really never know. So councils were also built.
Energy.
Energy,
You have the
fuel.
yeah. Would it be public transportation also?
Public transport. And we would have to say farming and shops, right? This was owned by the taxpayer, was it not? How did you get the land? Where did it come from? After all, the king killed, back in the day, yes, killed another king, and then dominated the land, yes.
And the previous king
So it's
killed the
theft.
previous king and the previous.
Yeah, so it's theft, whichever way you look at it.
Yeah.
And it's not theft off of one king to another, because don't buy into that bullshit. It's from the people. It's the people that resonate here. Now, if we take all of the... So how long this has all been sold? Now, why did it get sold? Why did they sell all of this stuff over? Because by now, we should have children in classes with a teacher per pupil. Yeah, aren't they harping on about jobs and shit, aren't they? Black hole budgets and everything else. We would be able to have, rather than 30 kids versus one teacher, we'd be able to have 30 children, 30 teachers. One-on-one with all the kids by now. And you can tell a lot about state school and state everything else.
Yeah.
They wouldn't put their own children in it.
Exactly.
They wouldn't live in council houses themselves, although a few do. You know, these council and housing association water company.
Yeah.
Why did all of these get sold? Was it because of war?
No.
No? It wasn't because they had to sell them because the councils run out of money or something?
No, especially at the war, they wouldn't do that, would they?
Right, well, there's a funny thing about war. If I've got £10,000, no, 100,000, no, £1 million. If I got £1 million and we go to war, what happens? Small businesses collapse all over the country. All of them. Either they're blown up or they just can't afford or they can't get the resources, and we see massive chains. That's what we see.
Yeah.
But would any of these corporations such as Saffron collapse? No. You see, it's pretty easy to put out Saffron and everybody else. Again, whether you vote, if the people made a vote, because that's what we live in, right? A democracy where people are voting, the true meaning of democracy. You've got 10% of housing associations, the shit ones I'm talking about, the ones that are authoritarian. You know, you can't put in this, you can't build that, you're not allowed to do this, you can't have a greenhouse, you know, all the controlling bastards that they are. These ones, you could knock these out easily. But the council bend over backwards for them, and there's got to be a reason for that. Well, how else could I remove money out of a tax pot without taking the money and losing the paper chain? Well, what I would do is I'd build a load of council houses, yeah?
Yeah.
C houses. Out of taxpayers' money, yes?
Yeah.
I would then put in people into these houses. Well, no, then I would sell these houses. But I wouldn't sell them. Remember, if you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that the saying that they say?
Yeah,
if you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to worry about. So, board members that sit on all of these houses, let's take Saffron, this is one particular one in our region. Got enough money to buy already built houses, but not enough money to buy cheaper and build your own houses, which then would add to the market. So there I would call a red flag straight up. It's more expensive to buy built houses than it is to build houses.
Yeah.
And especially to this pally-pally with the council, you think they get planning permission off of fucking an island made of gold. That's how pally-pally they are. So there's one red flag. I get to 3 and I'm out. If you buy your house, you're allowed to do what you want in it. No inspections, you can do what the hell you want. They don't need to ask permission to put up a freaking shed, even though this doesn't constitute as... And then where is the courts in this? And then should the courts be run by the government or should they be independent to make the laws as they see fit? There's another question entirely, right? So, I can't just go and take money out of the tax pot, can I? Because it would have a paper trail. Boris Johnson proved this when he was using the money to clean his pool. It was easily found and people found it. There is another way to do it. There's a way to do it via manipulating people. So, you would charge working people a tax with this tax, you would build council houses, but you didn't want to build the council houses because it's imperialistic. And why call it social housing when you can't stand socialism? There's no such thing as socialism here, but there is manipulation to get what you want and wait lifetimes to get it. So then you would sell these council houses for a steal price, perhaps after a war, or perhaps because the council mismanaged money, but we're still giving them more. You'd sell these houses to a wink, wink, nudge, nudge CEO and board members, B-members.
Mm-hmm.
These board members, you have CEO, which there's never one, there's more than one. And you would also create shares. In these shares and board members and everything else, you would then have to put in people who were on benefits. Now, in these houses, you need energy. Funny how you sold the energy as well. You'd also need water. Funny how you sold those as well. What else would you need? You would need a TV license.
Yeah.
What else? Council tax, C-tax, yes?
Yeah, council tax. And quite often children go to school as
Right, so you
well.
would need all of these things that have all been sold, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This money no longer goes back into the tax pot because what was built from it could have gone back into the tax pot, like I said. If you were to add all of the profits on all of these companies, now remember, it's a hard thing to do because they're all segregated. So you've got Saffron Housing here, you've got Cotman, you've got these, you've got Norwich City Council houses, you've got these houses, those houses, right? If you take all of them and add up the gross profit, pure profit, that these and board members and the shares are all getting from you paying your rent, and we would take it from the energy company, and we would take it from the water company, and again, these are all separate. And you add that up, that's how rich your nation would be. In pure profit if it went back into the tax pot like it was meant to. These things were set up by the tax pot, so therefore they belong to the taxpayer. Which then, what sort of communities would you have with extra amount of money to do the work? Would we already have alternate fuels? Would global warming be that much of a problem? Would we already be touching space by now? Would we be able to give our NHS nurses a better pay rise? Would we be able to give our police force, fire service, ambulance service better paid jobs? Would we be able to better our schools with that type of money? And the universities are also owned by government. All of this stuff is owned by government. Well, it was, but apparently they sold it, which I don't believe. They sold it to themselves. Because for them to take the money out of the tax pot, or the king to take the money out of the tax pot, this would be a paper trail. How do you lose a paper trail? Well, you put someone who's on benefits in it, don't you? And then you give them the money from the tax pot, and then it comes out of their hands, and they have to give it to the water company at a ridiculous amount of money to pay someone's profit. You have to give it to the energy company at a ridiculous amount. Yeah. Oh, you've got to pay it to the rent, haven't you? The rent at a ridiculous amount. Affordable housing, and apparently the government can't make the council houses do as they're told, but yet the people who own the council houses can make all their tenants do as they're told based on a tenancy agreement. But yet if you borrow money off the government, you've got a term and condition and a great big stick up your ass. They want to know who you're sleeping with, the ins and outs of a duck's ass, what you eat, where you go, who you drink. They want to see into your bank account. And you mean to tell me that with these council houses, they didn't have them up on the same contract? The ins and outs of everything, where all that money was going to go. No. Weird. They just sold it, and that was that. That'd be like just giving someone a benefit. But no. Them, and the people at the council sit on as board members and also have shares. Why? Because once you give the money here on benefits, you label that in the tax pot as benefits, and the paper trail stops. But if you were to do a full analogy of this, you would have to follow where they're spending 90% of that benefit. And where does 90% of it go? Anglian Water, energy company, rent. And then the people take the fall, people on benefits, people like you make me sick. No, it's these scheming cunts. Either way you look at it, they either stole this from the people, the working people, and then let's move forward, shall we? Because that's not the end of it. Here's how they're going to scheme you a little bit more. Talk about never do a day's work in your life. You tell me where Saffron managed to find the money to run a company like that, or to even buy it. Why couldn't it stay with the council? Where every time you're paying your rent, it's going back into the pot? Well, because they were moving all of this money, the paper trail.
Yeah.
Someone just paid X amount of rent, it just went back into the tax pot. What did you do with that money? See how hard it is?
Yeah.
Well, we spent it on this, but we're still asking for more council tax. On top of all of this money that's coming in. So who's scheming who here? Moving all of this money must make them sick, right? It's like being in a bank, isn't it? They got to move all that money, but it ain't yours to spend.
Yeah.
Because that's paper trail, people ask questions. So how do you delete the paper trail? Well, you make out you're the kindest group ever giving benefits, but now we're moving over to current and credit. Oh, I must find an easier way to maneuver this. Anyway, let's say we move people who are working in these houses that the tax pot bill. And let's say government collapses and councils collapse. Where are they? Sitting pretty. Where? As landlords.
Yeah.
As board members.
Yeah.
As shareholders. Got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to worry about. Not all board members are put on a fucking... Yeah, you really think that you're going to look up Saffron Oils and then who owns it? And you think that you're seeing the full picture? Really? You think that they're all the shares? Those board members are all the true board members that get to pay themselves a nice salary? What happens if they were all working in Saffron, most of them?
You cannot find shareholders, can you?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You got nothing to hide, you got nothing to worry about. Well, after all, that has been bought out of taxpayers' money, so I think the public have a right to know about all of this, and it stops this scheme, doesn't it? So now people move over and get everybody working. The benefit system is no longer needed because this process is all set up quite nicely. Move into one of their properties and reduce your outgoing. And they've got a big problem with it. It's funny how these companies seem to take the piss, don't they? And then want to charge you for the piss that lands on your roof.
Yeah.
Idiots. And what? The governments with their limited power and the council with their bullshit power. You are less than 10% of this population. And you've got nothing to fear, except for truth. Beat people to tell the truth, don't you? You'd never stick your own kids in a school, though, would you? Oh, no, because people would want to hurt us. That's why we need to roam around in bulletproof glass and hide ourselves. And you MPs that sit on top of councils doing barely fuck all, except for playing dictatorship because you've got nothing better to do, have you? Because you've got to protect your interests and your family's got mouths to feed, haven't they? And you've just found one big way to scheme the taxpayer. You are the biggest fraudsters, con artists in this nation. So you create the war, which then depletes most of the shops and everything else and creates the desperation that people needed in the first place, which then allowed you to sell this. Because you didn't have enough money, right? Didn't have enough money. No, you've only sold it so that you can fill all your pockets.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why you've sold this. There's no other reason behind it. And then when everyone's working, what are you doing? Nothing. You wouldn't work the jobs that you want everybody else to work. You wouldn't actually live in the properties and the conditions and squalors without kicking up a fuss. But yet you expect everybody else to. And you CEOs and you pathetic bunch at Saffron with your little control games, you are pathetic. You're the most poorest excuse of human beings I think I've ever met. Where you're scheming the taxpayer at every avenue you've got. And you board members and CEOs and shareholders are nothing but thieves that belong in jail cells. Crooks, all of you, and you at the council, you all belong behind bars. Because people on benefits have been taking the fall for you for millennia. Where people can say what they like about them. No wonder why you don't go at criminals and prisons and prisoners. Why not? Because you're cowards, that's why. because you are piss-taking cowards. It's easier to go at someone on benefits with the psychology, isn't it? Because these people are weak, apparently. These people have got no backbone. The people are thick as shit. Well, why is that? Because we educated them. We stick them in barely educationable schools. We're creating a life that's a misery. But you need to, though, don't you? You need to create fear and everything else because it speeds up the heartbeat, doesn't it? That's what it boils down to. You know, there's this rat, desert rat, that goes around from one female to another, right?
Yeah.
It jumps off of one female, runs to another. Do you know, it spends its whole time fucking, and it kills itself. It goes grey in a course of a matter of weeks. If you take this particular breed of rat, can't remember what it's called now, and you remove it from there, from young, and bring it up, did you know its life quadruples the existence of what it would have if it was in the wild? In the wild, it will go from one breed with another 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 for one whole season, and then it dies. Why? Because it's got a number of heartbeats. Everything has a heartbeat ratio, and you have a clock count. Your heart is only capable of beating X amount of times. Anything past that, and you're in uncharted territory. There was nothing past that. So when you get stressed, or when you rush, remember, employers love you to rush for them. They love you to move. Keep going. This accelerates your heartbeat. So what would usually cause you to only have a few heartbeats, 50, they've triggered an elevated heart rhythm of 150 to 300 beats. Whereas it would only be a small number. This speeds up your metabolic rate, and this creates death to come sooner. Did you know that? You only have a limited number of heartbeats. Now, we take the sloth. Takes a month to have a shit. This is nature, natural. It lives very slow. You can compare this with the elephant shrew and the elephant. Both of them have the same number of heartbeats. This little fella beats faster. It still has the same number of heartbeats. One, fast lane. Elephants never rush. They never rush, even lions. What do you think the oldest living life form is? Tortoise. Why? Because it takes its fucking time. So it's got a slower heart ratio. Therefore, it is not sped up. You ever wondered why kings never did anything back in the time? In the gentries, they never did nothing. They wouldn't even pick up a pen and write a letter. Problem was with them, they got too greedy and they overate in their body weight. That's the next, they had to really take control of overeating. Overindulging is what killed them most. And the sweet and sugary stuff, again, elevates heart rhythm. Mm-hmm. So you're more likely to die of obesity, but the ones that didn't always outlived the population. Mm-hmm. The ones that rush and are rushing about and always on this high, active, adrenalic lifestyle die quicker. I know this argues with your scientists and everything else, but couldn't really give a shit, to be honest. At the end of the day, can they really publish anything when they're in control? They're being controlled. Not much difference from the old religious orders of Darwin. Good to see that it's still alive and well. Shadow banning is another one. It's no different from house arrest. So people that are on benefits are needed. What for? To move money out of the tax pot. Now, if none of these assets were sold, or we had a vote, how many people do you think would vote in favour? But let's just take the example. So if you add up all of the profit since they've owned these individuals put in their pockets, not back into the community, and they're on a mission to make their billions into trillions, right? That's all they want to do, right? And we play a game of Monopoly, right? But we'd have to play it in a small scale. If this was your currency, all of these pens here, This was what was circulating in your currency, but this is what one particular person was doing. Kept taking and holding it. What do you not have? Money. So you need someone to print it. But at the time someone prints more money, they've already taken it.
Yeah.
And they're holding it. And what for? What for? You can find no good reason as to why they're holding this. What, because of title? Because of pride? Because of ego? Because I am the richest? Now you tell me what type of selfish individual would do that to many children whilst they go starving. And then tell me why the hell they should have the responsibility to hold on to that cash, to put nothing back, to allow kids to go through poor conditions, such as saffron, in conditions that could kill and seriously injure children going forwards, which creates the deficit. So what are we doing? Building the NHS, we're going to sell that one over to corporations as well, are we? And then we have the government sit there whinging. It seems like you lot are in the way. You don't know what you're doing. Or clearly, you do know what you're doing, and it is scheming everybody. Oh, and by the way, this is nothing new. This is nothing new. I think this is something new. You're very much mistaken. When you add up all of the profit that the board members have got, that the shareholders have got, that the CEOs have got, and you calculate all of it, from the water companies to anything that the taxpayer has ever built, that money, if government were to have held on to the assets and not sold them, which you can't understand as to why they would sell them. Because you're selling your power, right? That's what you've done, is sold your power.
Momentary gain for certain people who were at the power at that time.
Seems like a no-brainer, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We need clean water. Why? Because these corporations shit up the dirty water.
Yeah.
That's why when I say this, I'm not talking about all corporations. I know that there are some corporations out there that have worked very hard to get where they're at. No qualms with you whatsoever. The holding the money part of it, but sometimes this money comes back in other projects. These ones, where they're paying the RSPCA here and there, I think right now, animal welfare is above human welfare. We're back in the days of when they moaned at the penitentiaries back in the day, when the zoos were getting more money than people in
hospitals, in those
hospices and different stuff
yeah,
like that. Yes, we shan't use that word, but when we've got that sort of, what do you call it, setup, here's where we're at now. Do you think that people who are paying their rent, the reason why our rents are so high with Saffron, have you noticed that most of the workers take the vans home?
Yeah, they do.
Who's paying for that? Who's paying for that fuel? Who's paying for that insurance? Why should they be allowed to take it home? Is a police officer allowed to take handcuffs home?
No, they shouldn't.
Is a police officer allowed to take their car home?
No. They come in their own.
Are they allowed to take their work uniform and their badge and their gun? Are they allowed to take all of that home?
No.
Why not?
Because it doesn't belong there.
So why should individuals that work at Saffron be allowed to take their vans home? After all, who's paying for that?
Yeah.
Who's paying for it?
The people who pay rent in those.
So you mean to tell me that those people are not paying insurance? They're not paying tax?
Probably not.
Road tax?
Probably
They're not paying fuel? You mean to tell me they're putting their own money inside that van if they use it for personal?
I doubt it.
Where's the law?
Yeah.
Do you think any of these individuals should be allowed to take the tools home? What about the products that they buy that they don't install into houses? Where's that being written? You write it off. What do you do with it? Just chuck it in the bin? No, of course you don't. You give it away as Christmas presents, don't you?
They take it themselves or give it to their relatives, probably.
And whilst you're too busy trying to control everybody inside your houses, thing is that I think that the people that live inside these houses should start to make a stand. The reason why your rent is so high is because we've got to pay for them to take personal commutes in their work vans. Allowed to take them home.
or go shopping in them or
So
whatever.
that's fuel tax as well.
Yeah.
This is fraud.
Yeah.
And then where does the insurance lie with that? Why don't we all get businesses and all go and live in our businesses then, shall we? Use the water there. We don't have to pay a tax on it, will we?
Yeah.
We don't have to. We can utilize the energy as well.
Yeah, you don't have to. If you live in your business, you don't have to pay TV license because you paid for your business once.
So black hole budget is how? And now you want to get rid of people on benefits. Why is that? Well, because job done, really, innit? Council did what they needed to do, didn't they?
Yeah.
They managed to get rid of all the houses right underneath everybody's noses. You see, saying this on YouTube, you know, that's a funny thing. They'll say, you can't make a difference by talking on videos on YouTube. Have you ever considered putting this into a song? Wait, what? So songs are okay, or I should write it into a book, but making it on YouTube. Making it on Facebook. Got nothing to hide, you got nothing to worry about. Why do you need to shadow ban if all this is just a farce? No, because it's true, isn't it? If all of this stuff, and you add up all of the profits, all of it, and this is extortion, you've got to understand it, 750 quid a house, and it's called affordable housing, said by the government.
Yeah.
That is a load of bullshit, and they know it. Why else would they allow you to pay you a benefit, but then you pay it into council tax? Just help me get my head around that.
Yeah, why do you have to pay council tax as someone who gets money?
It's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Add up all of this profit. Would you ever need to pay a council tax?
No.
No, they'd be self-sufficient. Would roads be potholy?
No.
Would people need tax rises?
Not that often.
I mean, if they were as greedy as this,
Yeah.
and they were taking the piss, you know, the energy companies might as well start charging you for the sunlight that hits the land.
Yeah.
Now remember, I can knock out energy companies overnight. This is easy. So if it was all about control and all the rest of it, and they were at a loggerheads and a loss and they sold it, I wouldn't buy that. I would knock them out. How? By making a fuel that was cheaper than the energy companies, still rolls in a profit, but the profit goes back into the tax pot. But the problem is with that, I wouldn't be able to touch the profit. And I'd look at that tax pot mounding up, and thinking, how can I get that money out? Like bank robbers.
Yeah.
Are you all hired on the best scheme that you can get out of the tax pot? Because when you calculate council tax and working tax that everybody's paying, and tax on food, tax on tobacco, road tax, tax on VAT, when you start to add all of this up, energy tax, it's a lot of money. Next thing, they're going to start selling the prisons to corporations. How come no corporation has bought a prison?
Yeah, exactly.
Corporations have definitely bought the old people's homes, though, haven't they?
Yeah.
For elderly people?
Mm-hmm.
If I go to an old people home,
Yeah.
I'll be treated like a prisoner. It's a bit familiar, that type of behaviour in there where you can't do shit. It's a bit like saffron, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what are we paying a rent for? And most certainly, if you want all of this control, why don't you pay the council tax? But they don't pay council tax. If you've read on the back of the council letter, it's very hidden, but it's plain in sight hidden. If you are a landlord, let us know and we can give you up to 2 years free on tax. That's bollocks. That rolls over and over and over. So you mean to tell me that someone who earns X amount of money is entitled to a tax break,
Yeah.
but somebody who's on very little money is not?
Yeah. And they are chased and chased and chased.
And then they'll say it's because it's limited company, it's a limited company. Who writes the laws? Isn't it as simple as that? Just rewrite the law.
Yeah.
like you can rewrite the law whenever you feel like it to serve all of your companies, what's going to be the next law? People are not allowed solar panels. Whilst harping on about net zero. That's why I think it's all a load of bullshit. Do you know why I think it's a load of bullshit? Because you, as a housing association, if you live in one, are not allowed solar panels without asking for permission. The fuck has it got to do with you? You're not even allowed to build a shed. Apparently. Why is that? Why is that? So government harp on about net zero, climate, this is why we're taxing everyone. And councils are like, fuck the climate, you're not allowed to build this. You must take the energy. Why? Because it's all renewable. It's so renewable, but the price, yeah? So you get this for free, but yet you want to charge people an extortionate amount. So if you're getting this energy for free and don't have to do anything, then my word, why are you so greedy?
Yeah.
You mean to tell me that all of that rise and daily standing charge and everything else is because what?
I don't know why daily standing charge has to rise at all. I don't understand it. I thought it was small fee paid for the meter. So when it's new, it's paid off slowly after years and years because it.
We got war on
season-
climate, yeah? Let's nuke it. Let's nuke the war on climate. How do you do that? Well, you put in loads of small nuclear power plants in everybody's house. One that triggers off an alarm that has the police here within seconds, like you do with the corporations. Funny that. Ain't the police's fault, by the way. They have to do what they are told to do, because if they don't, here's a P45 and we'll find some fucker that will. They have to do it. Not because they want to do it. You can tell that in some of their body language when they roll their fucking eyes up and they're meeting difficulty. Because they know in their hearts of hearts, without saying it, I see your point.
Yeah.
But I don't do it, I don't get fed. Now I'm in the same fucking cesspit you're in.
And they are in a way, aren't they?
So what, we're going to sell the NHS as well, are we? Like we sold the dentists. Let's just give everything over to corporations that shit the rivers up in the first place, which then meant that we needed to build Anglian Water. Well, the government had to at the time, didn't they? And then we go and give it to corporations and create it into a corporation, the very same ones that take the piss. If you add up all of this profit, our nation would not be in any trouble.
No nation would be in trouble, not just this one.
At the very least, the energy, transportation, the schools. We're worried about people leaving the country. Why? What's wrong with your schools? I thought they were creating geniuses.
Yeah.
I thought these people were educated.
Yeah.
They were going to be rolling out of these schools, all geniuses, and being able to be the next pioneers of Britain. To go on to make the next pistons and the new renewable energy resources and figuring out what we're going to do about all this flooding. So clearly, there is an issue with what you're saying. There's a conflict. So that means that you don't have any hope in the next generation at all. And therefore you don't agree with schooling. That what they're pumping out is not amicable enough or good enough, to create better infrastructures. We have to keep the same shitty ones. And all of these companies have got something very much in similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how much tax is on fuel, tobacco and alcohol? It's a lot, right?
Yeah.
How much is your rent turning into?
Into really a lot.
So if you've got no more things to pay into and rebuild and maintain, but you're still charging the tax like you need to rebuild and do all of this stuff, how much money in that tax pot do you have that you can't get to? Because it ain't coming into the community, is it?
No.
It's not coming into anybody else's community.
No.
Unless you've got hundreds of thousands of pounds to pay for a fucking statue. Who said that that was decent? Where was the people's vote on that? In the community? Did people want that? Probably not. What do you think people in the community want? It clearly ain't that.
No.
When was the last time your towns had a lick of paint? When was the last time you saw your streets being completely cleaned, disinfected, you know? No, but we've got hundreds of thousands for a bench. Anybody else goes and puts a bench and the council come after them and tell them it's littering. But if some wannabe politician who's a fake person comes out of nowhere that's going to get into the council because they've picked this person, goes and sticks a bench out, rather than get down the waiting lists for doctors that are overpouring, they just go and give them a bench. Fucking genius. Oh my, yeah, people, yeah, way over the council, right behind him.
Waiting rooms are empty. What do you need a bench for?
Well, because there were so many people outside, you know. They looked like they needed a good sit. So some matey went and gave him a bench.
You go in.
And then becomes working in the council. Well done, Larry. Well done. You mean to tell me that that's the best you could do? Was give people a bench? You take the piss. That's it. With all of that money, all of that education, all of that private school, and oh no, sorry, because you were pretending to be a nobody. But you're not. You're a part of the family. You're a part of the elite.
Yeah.
Anyone can do this.
Yes,
Do you know what? Some people could do this so much more better with their eyes closed and going backwards and pissed. You lot ain't got a clue how to run societies. Not at all. I'm surprised your empire has even made it. Actually, it's not. It's falling down the last time I looked. It's falling apart. Take a look. People have had enough.
Yeah.
And what can you do? Nothing. Literally nothing. Got no power when it comes to these limited companies. Fuck off. Put me in charge of your laws and watch. With the people of this country behind me. The people. Not your 10%. You gotta lick their asses because they're stitching the money out of this pot, right? Do you ever think that if they actually brought better stuff in the communities, that they would be entitled to a pay rise? A bonus?
Yeah.
But instead, they go for the full scheme because greed blinds them, right?
Yeah.
You tell me, why else would they do this?
Only for that.
And then they get to play imperialistic landlords, don't they? They get to own all of these infrastructures with the shares and make loads of money from the tax pot. Hee hee hee. And then, when they've got rid of the benefits because they no longer need those people anymore, you see, that's all they were used for. Not because they cared, not because they have conditions. No. We've got to get them working. Why? Because we can tax them and we can charge them. What else can we charge them? Well, we can charge them more money. If everybody's working, we can use our companies to get even more money. Yeah. Remember, our families are growing.
Yeah.
They got to look like they're doing something. Rather than doing nothing and being paid a large amount of money to do it. I don't think this is like this in the rest of the world, but if it is, you're all shameful individuals. You're horrible. And you get to prance around claiming that you're better. That you're in those positions of authority for a particular reason. Because you aced some sort of test and you didn't. And we're just here to keep the riffraff out. You are the riffraff. Truth be told for the people. And then you move in all these working people, get rid of the people on benefits, then we'll profit off of health. God, you're idiots. While laughing at all the taxpayers. And you think that people are thick. They're not. The people of this nation are not thick. And yet, that's how much and how little you care about the elderly generation that you lied to under this socialistic bullshit in order to get what you wanted. And that's how long you've been working at this for. That's how heartless you lot are. That you lie to people. Disgusting. And elderly people then get treated like shite at the end of it. And you get treated like royalty for all your cons and tricks. Terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And look at how self-righteous they are. Look at what they do to people that steal money from banks. Look at what they do. You ever notice that that was always over the top? They never could figure out why that was so over the top. You get kids go missing. We're doing everything we can. Get one of their own go missing. 4 police forces. Then I'm shadow banned for speaking up. Nothing to hide, nothing to worry about, right?
Mm.
And then they go over the top with people that steal money. You know, almost too much, right?
Mm.
Molest a kid, low sentence.
Mm.
But rob a bank and don't make away with the money, right? And you're given life sentences?
Yeah, or financial fraud that is against them.
Yeah.
When someone steals money for themselves, some accountants or these people.
So right, it just
Yeah,
portrays an
it's
image
like
that they
tens-
would never do anything
It's
like
like
that.
in
Look at
in
what they do
tens
to
of
people
years,
that do.
isn't it?
This over the topness is psychology
Mm-hmm.
for individuals. Usually are over the top at certain things when they are doing certain behaviors. It's to portray an image to people that they would never do that. You know, the old saying goes, and I don't mean this with all vicars, it's just a way to try and douse out religion. I think that it's an attack on religion as opposed to, you know, some of these stories are not true and some of them are true. Where you wouldn't think that it would ever be a priest, would you? That would ever touch a kid. You would never think that, right? It's such a shocker when you hear it, right?
Yeah.
It's a bit like this, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah, it is.
So, Saffron, your days are definitely numbered. And your bullshit laws and your little acts and your dominion-y type imperialistic junk that you write and call tenancy agreements, they're not over, but they are fucking numbered. And when the people find out what you scum are really all about, oh dear. Oh dear. So enjoy it whilst it lasts. And council, you want to play this well? Your days are also numbered too. All of you. Tick tock, because that clock has most definitely started counting down. And it isn't a dramatic end where there's anarchy and there's violence and there's this and there's that. No. Don't believe everything you hear in the TV, do you? On movies? It's just a movie.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a bit like when Apple bring out a mobile phone. Think of that as your empire. And then think of the next one that comes out, the next model. One that's better, more robust, less corrupt, less security breaches, a bit more beneficial to people. And how many people switch? There isn't no anarchy, is there?
No.
People aren't creating shit because the new models come out. No. And this war, all this is to stop us buying gas from Russia directly. That's all it is, to create an ear ripple. Could you imagine if we started buying gas directly from Russia? We wouldn't be their bitch, because they might sell it at a fraction of the price. It's possible, is it not? Whilst you've sat there favouring all your corporations that were shoveling coal needlessly, right? They weren't acting like Scrooges. What are these? These are garments. You lot all walk around in fucking garments, freezing in your big-ass castles. When you walk by and you're like, I can smell fire. Nah, it ain't the castle. They wear clothes. They're sitting in there freezing together. Really? With your great big fucking pig roasts and shit, yeah? No, that's just a fairy tale. Mm-hmm. And a king's job to protect the kingdom and the people within the kingdom. Not a small group of people. And another thing they went over the top with, which kind of weird the way things all came out, really, weren't it? Do you notice how the County Lions, if you have any way or association with the County Lions here, it's a gang here, I'm not really too familiar with what they've done or whatever else. But if you're friends with them, you can get 25 years in prison just for even being associated with the County Lions, yes? But yeah, if you were associated with Epstein, guess what you get? Big fat fuck all.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Over the top about scamming money, under the top about paedophilia.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is.
Well, maybe the Krays were right back in the 60s then, yes?
Yeah.
Who else has come out with this stuff? So yeah, for a better United Kingdom and a better political system, one that outshines everything, bring back the whip is what I say. And when you crack that whip, it means something. Not this pugwash of politics that we all call leadership, because it ain't. Not this shallow thinking crap. No, one that pulls all of these infrastructures back, sets them in fucking stone, puts them down with a great big act that cannot be touched, tampered or changed. And that's water. Why? Because we should all be drinking it, shouldn't we? We want to know what's going in it. Being charged for rainwater that falls on a house? What a load of rubbish. Council houses should be brought back in and be given to people who are working, low income, and anybody else that wants them. Why? Because they're a cheaper price. Plus, making a little bit of profit. Every time you pay that rent and that water bill and that energy bill, it's going into the pot. You can't waste it. We'll put on, because it makes sense to put on structures that if you're wasting it, it's going to be, there's going to be a premium added to that. When you leave the house, turn it off. Just turn it all off. That's where we should be getting into as Britain. Not only should we be getting it cheap, but we should also be saving very precious resources. And if there's a leak, we'll know about it. A water leak. Not we'll find out when it's pissing out the road. Anglian Water infrastructure that they haven't put back any money back into it. It's not just them, it's all of them because they've divided it. Not dumping it into rivers irresponsibly. We'll just fine you and give people cheaper bills. Fucking hell, you don't even know what cheap bills are. What about energy companies? They've been killing how many people by pumping poisonous? How much more cheaper are their bills going to be for that one? So yeah, we can do it with water, but we just can't do it with the energy companies. All of this be owned by the people. A minimal profit, but not one that takes the piss. Logical control on housing, not illogical. You want to build a shed? Go right ahead. You want solar panels? Be our guest. If you want to build wind turbines? Go right ahead, it's your piece of land. You pay the council tax, don't you? Why, yes we do. Have at it. You want a greenhouse? Turn your garden into it for all I care. But no, because that's something where the shops don't like it, because they might be put out with their produce, because people might start selling and trading their food. That's why we can't have you having greenhouses in there.
Yeah, or eating their food.
We can't have you having solar panels, because you lot might, people copy each other in these places.
Yeah.
And they won't be helping our friends pay them the energy bill, and they'll cry about it. Oh dear, quick, better call the council. You might as well all wear capes. You might as well dress up in capes. What are we? We're the stop police. We say no police. Not to corporations, but just to you, the ones that pay us. You pay us to say no to you. What else are we paying you for? To say yes to them. Just not planning permission. We allowed them to buy the houses. Do you mean to tell me that people in a council didn't go, you know what, we can give you planning permission. We ain't selling these, but we could give you planning permission to build these houses. What were you planning on building again? Because, you know, this saffron company must have had loads of money from somewhere, right? It's charity. It's not a charity. This is an excuse of a charity, this is. Harassing people since we existed.
The charity is there to cut their taxes even more.
Yeah, of course.
That's why it is there.
Yeah, it is. And that's why they're donating to RSPCA, because they perhaps get to wipe their tax a little bit
because
more.
wipe or reduced.
We paid RSPCA and the council were like, you know what? All your empty properties, don't worry about this. Just don't worry about it. We don't need it. Are you sure? They said black hole. No. Black hole budget is just something we spout off to them. We don't mean it. We're trying to figure out ways to get this money out.
Yeah, it's
You're
government's
helping us,
budget.
we're
not
helping you.
ours. Yeah.
You scratch my back and I'll eat yours. Fucking the people is what we do best. You would think that you would look after these people a little bit better, wouldn't you, rather than bullshit them and I hope to God it ain't this. It's just a misunderstanding. But when you're writing to the Houses of Parliament about conditions and different things like that, do they rein them in? Do they hook them in and rein them in? Do they send the council out to rein them in? No, we just sit here pretending we don't know what we're fucking doing. They look like they were on drugs, mate. At a party somewhere. On drugs, spaced out. Dude. Finding all the stuff that you're doing. Because you ain't got a right to a personal and private life. They do, but you don't. Taking your personal property. Just got so used to taking things from people, haven't they?
Yeah.
And saying no and making their lives hard. I'm sure that benefits, the way that they treat people at the end of it is no. No, I think this is a way to move money out, to lose the paper trail. Give you benefit, and then your benefit is given how much to the energy company? How much to the gas company? We're talking a shit ton amount, right? Then how much do you rent out of that money? And then when it's no longer needed because you've already sold all the council houses and the energy and everything else, what do you need to do? Make those people work. Why? Because we're going to charge them in every direction. Now we need to get tax from them working. How are you going to maneuver that money out of the tax pot? Didn't we create medicine as well? Operations, hospitals.
Yeah, or at least let them a little bit working, because in the future the law will be, or the acts will be manipulated. So if someone works a little bit, they have to pay more.
Why don't you
than,
incorporate the prisons then?
Yeah.
Because these are heartless bastards who don't give a shit. That would charge them a rent as extortion and call it affordable. These are affordable prisons. Here are the rules that we're going to make you abide by. Sign this Housing Act. HM. Prison.
You will be paying council tax.
You will be paying council tax. You will be working. We will be charging you this much rent on it. You know, if anyone's going to be able to do it, it will be these. But why have they never done it? Yet why do they do it to people, everyday people? You see what I mean? There's a bit missing here. Yeah. Cowards, mate. Cowards. Yeah. You idiots. That's why all I got to say is you just fraudsters. And that's why you call it out. Frauds. They're committing fraud. What if we've got whistleblowers? What if we've got people that tell people we can't do that? We could just give it to that person there, charge that person over there. Frank, I love your fucking thinking. I'm going to make a statue out of you. This is your empire. Stand up, take it. Here's a pair of scissors. Here's a ribbon. Let's unveil this, shall we? Whilst all the kids go cold and empty mouths and people are working and claiming and... Oh, my days. Why is that? Because we've got a scam going. The scam is we think of ourselves, and we're also going to control them as well. Why do you need to control these people for? Funny, can't control the people in your prisons though, isn't it? Weird. Seems to me that you can't control people, can you? No, you cannot.
You just manipulate.
The education system's so great, why don't you educate them? Because these people have rights. People on benefits don't. Sign here, please. Did you read the small print? Why? We took away your rights. Everyone's equal in this country, the rich and the poor. They're all equal. So someone with a middle class upper bracket who's bought their house doesn't have to cater to what? Fucking bullshit tenancy agreements, bullshit inspections, bullshit being told what to do. And then if these people does get the house repossessed, what, you're going to stick it back on the market? Someone will buy it? No, it's because we've got lazy housing associations that don't want to modernise housing. That's what it boils down to. They ain't got a clue of how to build houses, maintain houses, or make houses. You know, it takes one of the corporations, not of the above mentioned, to create these houses that are fully waterproof, washable, cleanable, scrubbable. You just don't touch this flooring. We've put it down everywhere. You can lay carpet on top of it with Velcro. Do what you want with this, this, and this. We've inserted massive, really strong magnets into the wall. You can put shelving on that. So underrated, isn't it? But you are responsible if you break the weight limit and something falls on you. That's a you problem. We are going to put in places where we think you're going to have the TV. One is there, one is over there, and one is on that wall there. You take your pick. The rest have these beautiful, beautiful parts put over them to cover the screws. And if you need it, there's another one over there. Take out what you need to take out of the property that you're not going to use. Stick it in storage. We've got these storage facilities if you want to put your own kitchen in. We're happy for you to do that. But you must look after our old kitchen. Must go in storage with nice this, this, and this. We cater for that. We charge this much. What do you plan on doing? Let us know and we'll see if we can find a way. You know, Amazon don't make houses, but if they did, they'd probably be the best houses in the world. And that is probably a true thing because they could get all of the parts that you needed. Have it run by AI. No staff members. Inspection done by taking pictures inside your house to make sure the internal walls, that should be it. Is it clean? Send you recommendations that if you haven't decorated, maybe it's time for a fresh lick of paint. We found that putting a new lick of paint in the houses, we found these cheap contractors that are willing to do it. We can charge it on top of your rent. The rent goes up for a little bit. Once that job's all paid for, your rent goes down again. No problem. This becomes a sales point for the next person because the more you're modernizing these houses with different nooks, crannies, and everything else, you are just readying it for the next person. And the next person, and the next person does the same and makes the changes, and you allow them to. You are modernizing the house as you go while letting people live the way they want to live. And I'm sure that when this person leaves and goes on to do something else, somebody else that has that taste will want that house because it comes with everything that they need. You mean to tell me that we all got this oneness, have we? Are we still believe in the religions, are we? That there's just one religion, that there's just going to be one nation, that there's just going to be one order, that there's just going to be one law? And there's only going to be one person that would want a house like this. There would be no more. Just like there's only one king. There's only one politician. There's only one leader. Bollocks. There's only one council. Let's just have one council. Let's just have one tax. Let's have one infrastructure that is kept. Yeah. Doesn't happen though, does it? No, there's multiple choice for that one, isn't there? You might as well just give us one answer to the question. No multiple choice? Why not? We just give you the answer because we only like one. You live on a planet of variety. disparages and so much. It's not equality. It's no way is it equality. Do you have a track record of wrecking houses? No. But yet you're treated like you do. And the people that do wreck the houses, what happens to them?
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing at all. Why can't you build an insurance policy that sits on the house? If you damage it, then you will pay for it via an insurance premium that comes direct out of your wages or benefits. Once the work has been, you've paid it all back to be done from the insurance company, then that is left until you do it again. What is wrong with that? Then these bullshit housing associations can fuck off with their rules, can't they? They can piss off with all their shit, and at least the work will be done, because these housing associations don't put nothing back in. They just find a tenant that can't smell properly, or they find a tenant that can't do this, or they make them desperate so they're homeless. And the council are like, well, you just host them on our website. That's very bad that you would allow that shit to go on your so much more upper class la-di-da bullshit. How the hell can you allow that to happen? You are part of the problem.
Yeah.
And that's what tax pays for, is it? You idiots, mate. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
And I will still call you that, by the way. And if you don't like it, well, then change the situation then, innit? It's simple, really, innit? Lean on your precious little money pits to do the job. Rely on your fraudsters to do it. Because then you can probably take more money out of the tax pot then, couldn't you? Get your greedy little hands on it. Terrible people.
Yeah. That's why those houses have only one picture there. Because who would take picture inside and then who would publish it on
and then you
council
only have 3
pages?
choices. And if you refuse the first one, they'll question whether you were homeless in the beginning.
Yeah.
Do you see desperation? They put you up against the wall, and this is how they've been allowed to get away with this for how long? And this comes from a great nation, does it? And you would expect the council that adhere to this empire's greatness to be walking in accordance to the great in the Britain. If not, get out. And politicians that stand by and allow the councils to operate like this, get out. And let us vote in a party, a people that are gonna serve this nation as opposed to fuck it up. At the end of the day, you families are no different to any other family that's out there. Anyone could do this. And it's gotten a little bit out of hand, I think, with this dictatorship. But you're controlling us, expecting a very little out of all of your money that you are getting. After all, these don't belong to you. They belong to the taxpayer. And we all, working class, middle class, and upper class, could all have a shot at having a decent house. Could do. Some would choose to have their own house big and a certain way. Some people would just like a mediocre living. Why should that matter? Fact is that either avenue they choose, this is going to be the very best and the greatness of what makes Britain, isn't it? The very best of British.
It should be. The quality should be good. Excellent.
Yeah,
Whether
you
it's
would
small
expect
or
that.
big house, the quality should be excellent. Shouldn't
And I
it?
think those stamps where they say they're investing in people, fuck that.
Yeah, in which ones?
Supporting the charity of disabled people. No, you're not. Creating mental health Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's what they
Creating
are
health
doing.
problems.
Yeah.
Overrunning and burdening our NHS unnecessarily. These things you should have. At least they're fucking honest.
Yeah.
Killing people. Since when? 2018. When was it? 2011. Shortening life expectancy. Investing in the Grim Reaper. You might as well put the Grim Reaper up there.
Yeah.
Fucking terrible, isn't it? And then a king that sits at the top of all of this shit that then all filters down like a river. Shit me, you're a shame to the Egyptians. You really are. Steal their stuff, but don't know how. You just shamble it, don't you? And then claim that you're in that position because God put you there. Fuck off. Keep knocking on those pearly gates because I don't think they'll open. Anyway, can I leave this one here? It's been a fun one.
Yeah.
It's been a good yarn.